Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to a brand new year of Kaiju Conversation. I'm your host, Elijah, and joining me once again is the always intuitive Rex. How are you doing today, Rex?
Hello, I am doing pretty good today. I woke up,
Yeah.
and I woke up.
So, what's new with you, Rex? We haven't talked since last year, on the podcast at least.
Yeah, on the podcast.
Yeah, I'd hate to see the analytics of how much we talk to each other.
Nah, I'm doing pretty good. Had my birthday recently, got some money, spent it on kaiju movies, kaiju books, Ultraman figures, etc. So I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. That's awesome. Do you want to reveal to us any of what you got?
Sure. Actually, the three items that I've gotten already are two John LeMay books. The Big Book of Japanese Giant Monster Movies, Volume 2,
You
which is a
second.
slightly outdated version. Pardon?
Yeah, the second edition, not the third.
Yeah, which is a bit outdated, unfortunately, but
Mhm.
it's still good. There are minor inaccuracies here and there from what I've read, but it's pretty good.
Nice.
And then I've got John LeMay's The Big Book of Japanese Giant Monster Movies, The Lost Films Mutated Edition, the 2019 big hardcover.
Awesome. Hardcover?
Yeah, the hardcover.
There's a hard... I didn't know that. Now I'm going to have to buy another copy.
But yeah, no, it's pretty good. I've only read one chapter so far, which is the section on two Godzillas Japan SOS, which is
Son of Godzilla.
Yeah, an early version of Son of Godzilla, and it's interesting. It's pretty much the only place where I can find information from it on it, so that's sort of why I bought this book, as well as other unmade or lost movies that don't get publicized as much as they really should be.
I know, right? I'm planning on getting the King Kong one.
Yeah, I hear that's got a little bit more on, what was it? Continuation King Kong vs. Godzilla?
Continuation King Kong vs. Godzilla 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
and then...
So I've got that. Do you want to say what you were thinking before I move on to the other things?
No, go right on ahead.
Sure. Other than that, I might have said this earlier, but I did get King Kong Escapes on Blu-ray. I've got Matango, the Media Blasters DVD for Matango on order, so that should be arriving in a couple weeks, hopefully. And pardon?
Did you get it off Amazon?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because I've noticed that Media Blasters DVDs have started popping up on Amazon for decent prices.
So from what I gathered, those are like a one-time thing. You paid $30 USD, right?
Somewhere around that.
Yeah. So I reached out to Media Blasters and I asked if they had any of the Toho films, and they said no. So what I'm guessing is somebody, because this happened like a few years ago, somebody found like a lot of them and they put them out, and like all the prices went down to like 25. And I think what happened is that happened again, but now it's 30. And then when these sell out, it'll be like, you want to get Matango? We want $90.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of jumping on it while I can.
Good.
Because a lot of these films that I'm aware of, I generally know what happens, but I either haven't seen or I don't own.
Right.
I'm just trying to get them as soon as I can before they get Biolanted, as I shall call it.
Or
But
Guard
yeah.
1.
Oh god. But yeah, no. I look forward to being able to finally see Matango.
Yeah,
I would have
definitely.
liked to have watched it. I actually wanted to watch it on Halloween of 2020, but I unfortunately couldn't since I kind of didn't own it, so bit of
Now,
a
you
shame
did
there.
watch Demon of Mount O instead, right?
Yeah, and I barely remember what happened in that movie.
One of Daiei's later early Showa Toku films.
Yeah.
So what else did you get?
The final thing I bought was I ordered the SH Figure Arts Ultraman Z Alpha Edge figure. So that should be arriving either at the end of this month or maybe early February at latest.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. I ordered a lot. The only things that I can think of off the top of my head is I got Japanese Giant Monsters Lost Films edition.
Yeah.
I ordered Season 1, Volume 1 and 2 of VR Troopers and Season 2, Volume 1. So getting that Metal Hero stuff. Whenever I can find Volume 2 of Season 2, I'll have majority of the Metal Hero that's available in the States. I still got to get Beetleborgs. And then, what else did I
I
get?
I haven't unfortunately seen many Metal Heroes, so I should
Yeah,
probably invest in that sometime.
the only one I know that's available in the West is like in its original format is a Mega Beast Investigator Disposition,
Yeah.
and that's from Discotech, and I guess they want to do more. It's just it didn't do too hot. So it's
Unfortunately.
like, yeah, so it's a little bit of a risk, but
Yeah.
hopefully, when as Ultraman and Kamen Rider become more relevant here in the States, maybe we can get that Metal Hero back.
Hopefully.
That or hopefully, it would be nice if Shout could put out the stuff that Beetleborgs and VR Troopers were adapted from.
Yeah.
And then, I'm trying to think what else did I get. So, because I've also got a lot that I haven't revealed yet. A lot of it's kind of stupid stuff, so I'm not too on the edge of my seats for that.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all I got so far. But there's a few other things coming in. Uh, so I think you win. You had a lot more cooler stuff coming in than I could talk about.
So it seems, at least.
Yeah.
How's that Hell from Beyond the Fog Blu-ray coming along?
Okay, actually, I'm happy you brought that up. So I think last episode I talked about how I ordered it 2 minutes after it was put out on pre-order, and I've still yet to receive my copy. That still stands. But, and this is going out to the good guy known as Ron Bonk, the main guy behind SRS Cinema. He has reached out. Well, I reached out to him and I told him the situation, and he's sending me another copy with the posters. So I will be receiving a copy soon. And I just gotta say, the customer service I've received from SRS Cinema over the last few months is amazing. And I really, really appreciate all that Ron has done to right the wrongs of the USPS. So definitely support them. And if Ron's listening to this, thank you so much for being an awesome guy.
Yeah.
I'm also working on something for Ron, but that I can't talk about.
Ah, nice.
So that's really all. Oh, Kaiju Ramen should be coming out soon. I think we talked a bit about it last time. Um, the Kickstarter ended at midnight
Yeah.
of the new year. It funded itself, I believe, 300%. So the next year of issues has been funded, and really now they're just hoping that people will continue to order the new issues so they can fund the following ones. And so hopefully issue one's a big success. That should be coming out very soon. And if you're listening to this in the future, check out kaijuramen.com and check out the issues. They're really cool. And all I can say is the second issue might have something from yours truly. And I'm really excited and proud of what it is. I've almost got it completed. I had difficulty keeping it under the 2,000 word limit that Travis asked me to. So I'm not done yet. I still have like 3 paragraphs. I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually successfully keep that under 2,000 words. But we'll see. If not, I'm sorry, Travis, in advance. But yeah, it's there's a lot of good stuff. Travis and Michael, they're great guys. I feel like we're kind of going through the news.
I was actually listening to one of their podcast episodes just yesterday, actually, and they seem like good people.
I love Kaiju Weekly. It's such a good podcast. Now is just becoming an advertisement for everybody we like. So yeah, but they're good people. There's a lot of good podcasters out there.
Yeah.
You know, I know one. His name starts with an E, I believe. And I think his last name starts with a T. Yeah, I hear he's kind of a cool person.
Yeah. To me, he sounds kind of lame, you know. But that's just my opinion.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. I feel like we're really dragging this out.
Yes, we've made this joke many times already.
Oh, that's me though. I'm the one that will continuously make the horrible jokes that everybody's bored of, like Yeti nipples and butt rockets. Much love to the people at Kaiju Weekly for those emails. But yeah, so Kaiju Ramen, that's doing well. Very, very fun, very exciting. News-wise, there's been some development and a lot of cool Tokusatsu stuff coming out that I'm sure you guys are well aware of. If you want to hear news, I recommend checking out Kaiju Weekly. They typically do all the news stuff. I'm just kind of like going through some notions right now.
Kaiju Weekly.
Yeah. This should just be called Kaiju Promotion. And it's like everything we talk about is like, check out sci-fi-japan.com for the leading news from Japanese studios. Check out Kaiju Weekly for weekly podcasts. Now, I'm really turning this into Kaiju Promotions now. We're not paid by any of the people we're promoting. Just for
full disclosure, we are not paid. We are not sponsored.
We are making nothing from this, and I'm pretty sure we're losing money.
Probably.
But anyway, getting into the topic at hand, since we have been talking now for about 15 minutes about everything but our main topic. Quick disclaimer before we get into the discussion. This is not going into any politics. This isn't picking a side. We're just talking about the experience of either or. And if right now, if you feel uncomfortable going to a theater, we're not saying too bad. We fully say, hey, stay home, watch this on streaming, be safe, keep yourself safe, keep your family safe, keep yourself healthy. Because
Yeah.
that's really what we want. We want everybody safe and healthy, and eventually everything will get done and over with, and we can get back to normal.
No shame in going to the theater, and no shame in staying at home.
Exactly. So that's a perfect segue, and our recording bot just left, so Garrick is going to be our Lord and Savior. So, moving into our main topic, let's just discuss right now the financial pros and cons of either or. Rex, since you're the lovely guest again, we'll let you go ahead and give us your kind of thoughts.
All right. Well, so first off, full disclaimer that neither of us are exactly financial experts, and as well as that, there's really this is an overused word in recent times, but there is a lack of precedent for things such as these. So
Yeah, they're keeping us in the dark about a lot of this.
yeah, but from what we've seen, Wonder Woman 1984 has released to as a hybrid release on HBO Max as well as in theaters, much like how it seems many of Warner Bros. Upcoming films, including a certain movie called TVK, the same sort of hybrid release as that.
Correct.
So yeah, Wonder Woman 1984, that has, in terms of if you just look at the box office results, that seems not great, but given the fact that a sequel has already been greenlit and very quickly after release, it would suggest that in terms of streaming, the film's been doing rather well. So I could be wrong, but I think the budget for Wonder Woman 84 was roughly around 200 million, while
And then you gotta keep in mind its promotional budget was like for a year and a half, so it kind of yowza.
Huh. I'd love to see the advertising budget for the James Bond movie, No Time to Die.
Ooh. Yeah, that movie's gonna be doing itself a favor making a penny. It's not gonna see any money back in that. No.
But yeah, the current worldwide box office as of recording this is around 118 million worldwide, roughly.
Which sounds like a bomb.
It sounds like it, but
yeah.
But given the fact that a sequel has already been announced, it's very likely that it's done surprisingly well.
Streaming.
Yeah, on HBO Max, which is interesting because HBO Max is not available around the world.
It's only in the US, which I think is a huge issue. Which, also, real quick, speaking of HBO Max, let me ask you, how do you think they factor what isn't?
I don't know, honestly.
Like, how does it make money on HBO Max? Because that's just a subscription service. That's all, like, it. I don't see how they make money from that.
It might be done in a very similar way to TV ratings. Possibly.
But with TV ratings, it's different because there's advertising. There's no ads on HBO Max. So it's so weird because it's like, logistically speaking, all it's doing is getting people to watch it, and probably a good portion of those people already have HBO Max, or they're just spending that. It's like what, $7, $8, something like that.
Something like that.
That's like a quarter of what the theaters charge. Now, granted,
Hmm.
that's $8 pure dollars going from your bank account to Warner Brothers, but
Hmm.
still, I don't see how it's that successful. Doesn't make
Hmm.
much sense
It
to me.
might just be successful, much in the same way something like The Mandalorian was really successful.
Sure.
Because there's a good possibility, not going to say it, this is a fact, but there's a good possibility that having Wonder Woman 84 streaming on HBO Max brought in a great many amount of people that otherwise may not have paid attention to the service at all.
Sure. I guess they could monitor that. But then it's like, so let's look at this. So that would mean the film has had to make 100 million on streaming
If
for it to
not
be
more when you,
if not more.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's like, how successful is it really? Did
Hmm.
Warner Brothers just greenlight it because they know this wasn't going to do well, but it did
Possibly.
well enough? Or did it actually do amazing? I heard that they weren't expecting it to be as successful as it was, so it's like, okay,
Hmm.
how do you consider what isn't successful? There's just I've got a ton of questions when it comes to how does streaming count as success?
Yeah, and unfortunately, there really isn't all that much information on it at the moment, at least.
Hmm. And we
Hmm.
may never get that information.
Hmm.
But so continue on. Sorry, got us down that rabbit hole. It's just something I find very interesting.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on, and that I'm sure many companies are currently keeping an eye on, for the film industry as a whole, to
Hmm.
see how can we how can we make money off streaming, or
Right.
how and is streaming possibly more effective in the long term for our company or our services.
Right. And it's pretty obvious with Disney's Mulan, it's not, because with that they had to pay $20 to watch it once, and that movie
Yeah,
bombed. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, so you can't charge $20 to watch it once,
Hmm.
but if you just have it on the streaming service, there's like a quarter of that is money going into watching Wonder Woman, but it's also going into watching other content. I guarantee you most of the
Yeah.
people that subscribe to HBO Max have checked out other stuff on the streaming service since then.
Either that or maybe they cancelled their subscription.
Yeah. So,
Full of
so
Mandalorian.
yeah. And now they removed the free trial, so that's no longer a good solution.
Hmm.
So now it's like, okay, both of these are probably successful, but not as successful. I'm really curious if what they'll end up doing is you have to charge like an Amazon Prime thing where you can buy the movie for X amount or you can rent the movie.
Hmm.
I could see that becoming the future of bigger budget movies on streaming, potentially.
Potentially. Potentially.
Sorry to interject again, that's just something else I wanted to throw out there.
It's fine.
So as you were saying about the success.
So yeah, Wonder Woman 84, whether or not it has made a profit, it's definitely been successful enough for a sequel to be greenlit, and I wonder if they do, or when they do a sequel, assuming it doesn't go for production hell. When they do a sequel, I want a third movie. I wonder how that would be budgeted.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. Because how can they determine
Hmm.
which is which?
Yeah. I wonder if I'm just pulling this sort of out of. I'm just sort of speculating here. This is not something where I've put serious thought in, but just wondering, like, could we see a decrease in $200 million blockbusters, and will we maybe see slightly smaller budget or possibly more contained blockbusters potentially?
And an interesting thing is, it used to be the rule of thumb that the sequel, whatever the sequel of a film, would have to be like 75% of the original's budget. Like they would keep cutting budget costs because they're just trying to make money off of it.
Yeah.
And whenever the lower budget film no longer was successful, that's when they would put an end to the franchise. So, and now it's kind of opposite. The first one has a low budget, and as the franchise continues, they keep putting more and more money into it, and until it, with like Transformers, until it bombs, they don't reboot it or end it. Because Last Night bombed, and that was given a pretty hefty budget. Same, kind of like the Marvel stuff. Like Avengers Endgame is a huge movie, budget wise, and it more than any of the other films. And now it made 3 billion roughly. So
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of interesting how it's flipped now. It starts off lower budget, and as it continues, it gets higher and higher and higher. And that happened with Godzilla 2014, the Godzilla King of the Monsters. 2014 had 150, King of the Monsters had 180, and with GVK, you know, everybody said 170, but now we're getting reports of 200 plus, which sounds right to me. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I can see it being roughly 160, 170-ish, and I can also see it being 200 million.
Mm-hmm. It just because they spend a lot more money on the special effects for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah,
like it's pretty obvious that they tried this time to make the CGI look good and not horrible in some shots, at least so far. Like another film from 2019.
Bear in mind, we've only got 2 seconds of HD footage.
True. Well, yeah, that's true. HD footage. I was going to say, technically it's about 4, but the other is like 240.
240 and recorded on camera.
Yeah, and shaky.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's... So far, it's looked good, and from what we've heard, it looks good. So I'm going to bet that they spent a lot on that, and they brought back Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler. So 2 of your larger names are back. Wingard was a bigger director than Doherty, so he probably cost more. They brought Doherty back to write the script, revise it.
Yeah.
So clearly they've been spending probably a little bit more on GVK, not with the actors, but like everything else. Because who cares about human characters in Godzilla movies, right? They're not worth it. In case that wasn't clear, that was sarcasm. The human characters are 100% important.
I was a little disappointed that when there was never any announcement of Charles Dance being part of the cast again.
Well, that's because they're not cool enough to have him back.
Yeah.
I want Charles Dance to read my funeral speech. Can I have Charles Dance be at my wedding to give my wedding vows? Literally anything Charles Dance says is amazing.
Long live the king.
See,
No, I really think if there's one issue I have with King of the Monsters, it was how underutilized he was.
of course.
But, you know, that's a discussion for another day as well.
Yeah, whenever we do King of the Monsters 2.0, where we critically trash the film because it's a schlock fest, and then we lose most of our fans because Monsterverse cool.
Yes.
And I use fans very lightly there. I don't think anybody's actually a fan of Kaiju Conversation. Or I could be wrong. I'm probably going to get a very heated email.
I can't wait, personally.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you. I'll read it out loud on the podcast. So we need to start doing that, promoting emails. Send us emails and we'll read them. So anyway, box office numbers. Streaming. And actually, so we're talking about Godzilla. Let's point out the reason we're doing this, the elephant in the room. We've got confirmation, essentially, that GVK is hybrid. Dune is different, but GVK is going to be a hybrid release in the States. Legendary will have theatrical rights for China. Toho will have rights to Japan. And everywhere else will be Warner Brothers. And HBO and Warner in the States.
Yeah.
Which I actually didn't know Legendary had theatrical rights to China, so that's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm.
I guess it does make sense given that they're owned by a Chinese
Wanda.
company.
Yeah, Wanda.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name.
Which, it's also interesting because now it makes sense why Legendary would wouldn't be upset because Godzilla's done well in China. So they've made their budgets back and they don't have to give Warner any of that. And then here in America, the same company that owns Legendary owns AMC partially. And so part of those ticket sales of AMC goes to Legendary. So now it's like, okay, I understand why you weren't upset with King of the Monsters now. You're basically set up to get money no matter what. And then Toho gets free money, so they're not upset.
They get the brand recognition internationally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not another 98. So they're fine with it.
Of course. So anyway, as we're saying, GVK hybrid in the States.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been saying it's not, Legendary's taking Warner to court. Warner's going to pay $250 million. They're going to work out a deal. It's going to be delayed, so it's theaters only. I've heard this thrown out there that Legendary's going to outright buy the film from Warner Brothers, and they're going to release it through somebody else. I've heard a bunch of crazy theories, and really the only thing that it's been is Toho or Legendary and Warner are talking right now on how to deal with this, and they'll come to an agreement. And it'll probably be Warner gives Legendary some money, and Legendary shuts up. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, not surprised. I think nobody is by this announcement. Yeah. So, do you think it can be successful with this, though? From what little we know, just can it be successful financially? Because of this split.
I'd say it'll almost definitely be more profitable for Legendary than it is for going to be for Warner Bros. Most likely. But it really is hard to say because, well, first off, there's of course just a lack of much information on how truly successful putting it to HBO Max will be, as well as theaters doing the hybrid release. But then there's also Wonder Woman 84 has more mainstream attention than a Godzilla or King Kong movie does.
Right.
Because they're well-known characters, but I don't know about your country, but in my country, you don't see a lot of attention going towards Godzilla. There were a couple news segments here and there, like maybe a month before the release, but the trailers for the movie didn't even start showing up until Avengers Endgame came out. And in my theater personally, which I went to opening night, there were, granted, this is not a very popular theater in my area, but there was only a small amount of people there.
Right.
My guess was about 7, including me and the person I went with.
Right.
Which, I mean, comparing that to a smaller movie that I went to see at the same theater around the same time. Granted, it was a Friday that I saw this movie on, whereas King of the Monsters I saw on a Thursday, because that's when movies usually release here. I saw Annabelle Comes Home. It was either opening night or the day after. I think it was actually the day after, but yeah. So that film came out, and I saw it on a Friday night, and I saw much more people in that theater than I did people in King of the Monsters. That could be due to just Thursday, Friday, but
Right.
still, the point
Now,
does.
I will throw this out. King of the Monsters did extremely well on the private market. It did well in Redbox. Its physical media numbers were really good. So
Yeah.
I could see. I think it'll bomb in theaters now, but I think it will have a very strong presence on streaming.
Quite possibly.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like it will do very, very poor in theaters, unless for some reason they're like, oh, hey, the new Godzilla movie's out. Let's go see it. When I say they, I mean everybody in America, and they're like, oh my god, it's this, we're going to go see it, and everybody goes to see it and becomes a billion-dollar movie. Outside of that, I don't see it really doing too well.
Yeah.
But, so, there's that. Do you have anything else you wanted to say about streaming?
Well, personally, I don't get a choice on whether I see it
Right.
theaters or streaming, since I don't have HBO Max. Though, personally, I am fine with it because for a movie like GVK, it's a giant monster movie. Unless you're fortunate enough to be able to afford a high-quality home theater, going to the cinema is an experience.
Right. And this is a perfect segue into what we were going to discuss is experience-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, because GVK, we haven't seen... Godzilla and King Kong have not fought on the big screen since 1962.
Yeah, and they're still not going to fight each other.
it is a big event for the franchise. And for me personally, seeing a Godzilla movie on the big screen is just, it's a truly great experience that I can barely put into words if I even can at all.
I can. Big monster go boom on big screen.
Yeah, and honestly, one of my biggest regrets is being unable to have seen Shin Godzilla on the big screen.
You would have been very disappointed.
I wouldn't have because I would have been too young to be disappointed.
Listen, the CGI was not good.
I don't care. I really don't care.
Here comes my Shin Godzilla hate. But I do agree. The theater is... What?
I was just going to say, we must stop him before he starts bringing up Day of the Kaiju.
Well, Day of the Kaiju was made to be on YouTube.
Oh, God.
The Kaiju is a good movie that basically did anything Shin Godzilla tried to do, but are first. Same with Giant God Warrior Attacks Tokyo. Yes. So, I'm sorry, but Shin Godzilla is busy reusing everything from all the past stuff like Evangelion, Battle in Outer Space, King Kong vs. Godzilla, and a ton of other Ifukube tracks and roars on top of scenes lifted straight out of Day of the Kaiju and Giant God Warrior and pasted into Shin Godzilla, but changed so the context is slightly different.
Yeah, we've had this discussion before. Go watch.
We have.
Go watch.
Day of the Kaiju on YouTube.
Yeah, or watch the earlier podcast episode where we discussed it.
Did we discuss it?
Yeah, I think it was episode 21 or 22. I don't know. I could be wrong.
We should do a podcast episode directly about Day of the Kaiju and other shorts that have been done. That might be a good idea.
Maybe. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah. So anyway, Godzilla and honestly superhero movies in general, and I'm a bias because I'm theaters all the way.
Yeah.
They are the way to go. I saw King Kong 33 in theaters right as everything went to shut down. I saw The New Mutants when it came out. I wanted to see Tenet, but I was not able to. I saw Wonder Woman 84 opening day on Christmas. So I have not shied away from the theater. Now I've been as precautious as I want to, as I can be. But you're not going to keep me out of those theaters. There's something about the theater experience that is beautiful in every manner.
Yeah.
King of the Monsters. I was very fortunate enough to see it in Screen X. Amazing. Sitting there mid-row, middle in the theater, basically having Godzilla 180 degrees around my entire body. Beautiful experience. Hearing the Ifukube and those loud speakers, just perfect. I love it. And when I go to watch something on Netflix, which I only have on my tablet, or Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever it is, I'm sitting there with my Bose headphones that I'm talking and hearing my current friend talking to me. I use those, and I watch on a screen like a quarter the size of the computer I'm talking to on right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller. It's not as high, because the frame rate is typically higher in theaters. It's not as, smooth. It's not as big. It's not as bodacious.
Yeah.
It's something about sitting there and seeing the grand screen, the golden screen, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
that's special.
Yeah.
And streaming can never do that. The theater is an experience.
Not only that, but I think there's more excitement because it feels going to a theater to see a movie you're looking forward to feels more like an event than just sitting down on your couch or your bed, grabbing the remote and pressing play on Godzilla vs. Kong or Wonder Woman 84, what have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And an interesting thing, and this is relating it to the fandom, the Tokusatsu. A lot of people have complained about Kamen Rider only being
Yeah,
available on streaming and not on disc. And it's very interesting how I'm surprised how quickly the Godzilla side of the fandom has been like, yeah, GVK exclusively on streaming or whatnot. It's very interesting how that is kind of the mindset, and I'm curious if it's because people are just tired of it being delayed, or if it's MonsterVerse, or what the cause of that might be.
hmm. It's probably a mix of things, honestly, with that.
Mm-hmm.
A mix
Mm-hmm.
of just people who maybe are less experienced with the franchise and thus aren't aren't as aren't as attached to collecting physical media as fans like you, me, or other people. Maybe it's just that's their preferred way of watching movies. Who knows,
Could be,
really?
could be. But one thing's
There's-
for certain.
Some people do appreciate the convenience of streaming.
Right, and
That's fair.
that's the huge part is how convenient it is. We're here talking about how it doesn't feel right, but let's be real here. Being able to say, "Hey, I can pull up my Netflix right now and watch 4 Godzilla movies,"
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing, you
I
know.
mean, hell,
Uh,
HBO Max has a fair few of the Showa
Kurosawa,
Godzilla movies as well. Yeah,
hmm
Kurosawa. I believe they have Rodan
X
and
from
War of the
Outer
Guardians.
Space, Rodan,
Really?
War of the Gargantuas, yeah. Goki, Body Snatcher from Hell,
So
Genocide,
yeah,
The Living
I see.
Skeleton, Seven Samurai, Hidden Fortress, Rashomon, Stray Dog, Ikaru. The list continues on and on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I never once thought that we would see something like that.
Hmm.
So it's pretty amazing how convenient that it is.
Yeah.
But one thing is for certain,
Hmm.
the theater experience is not going away. It might go down, but it's not going away.
Hmm.
And streaming is only going to get more popular, and
Yeah.
people will be using it, and companies will be using it.
Hmm. I
Star
imagine.
Wars, Marvel, they're all really kind of
Yeah.
perching to it.
They're definitely all they're shifting their efforts from movie productions to uh productions for Disney's exclusive services,
Hmm Yeah.
which is interesting to say the least. I was very surprised by how much they were announcing in terms of Star Wars
hmm
recently.
Oh yeah,
But
there's a lot.
yeah, but we'll see. We'll see if lightning strikes twice, I guess.
Yeah, well, we will see. Um, so do you have it? I'm kind of out of. I've kind of said my piece on the whole matter.
Hmm.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Uh, well, we've covered more or less everything that there really is. I guess I'm a so so yeah. We've got it's there for the first month of the theatrical run. So is it
Yes.
just that it's there for the first month and then it's just completely off the
Gone.
site? Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so I'm gonna single out GVK here, but this is for most of their stuff.
Hmm.
So Godzilla vs. Kong is releasing May 20th/21st.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's being distributed by Toho. In
Hmm.
China, it's distributed by Legendary. Worldwide, outside of those two regions, um, it's
Warner Bros.
distributed by Warner Brothers. Specifically in the US, it is distributed by Warner Brothers, and it's going to be streaming simultaneously on HBO Max for 30 days, and after 30 days, it's taken off the site, and it's theaters only for its remaining 2 months it's in theaters.
Okay.
So that's their plan.
Yeah.
But I think, again, just reiterating this from the beginning of this conversation, if you don't feel safe going to the theater, stay home. Use streaming. It's safer right now. It's more convenient. It's completely understandable. And
Don't let our opinions on the experience get in the way of your safety.
right,
Safety comes
because
first.
I think when if you ask either of us, you're like, hey Rex, are you which one would you like to watch it on streaming only or theater only? Both of us are going to say theaters.
Yeah.
And at least for me, it's just that's the experience. For the last
For
few
me,
years, I've gone to every movie I can in theaters.
yeah. For me, it's both. That's the experience, but it's also a case of, despite some recent events in my area, it's
Mhm.
for me, it's mostly safe. My country, Australia, is a lot safer in terms of COVID when than compared to the US, I'd say.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there is
Yep.
a lot less of a risk in
Mhm.
me going to the theaters or outside at all.
Right. Right. So yeah, just stay. Do what you deem best. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise because you know how you feel about this. And if
Hmm.
you want to go, you go. If you want to stay, you stay. You watch on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Um, and that's
no
that's
one's
that's
gonna
the
judge.
nature of the beast. So I think we're starting to spin back and forth. This
Hmm.
is a great time, I think, to wrap things up here. We have been talking
Yeah,
for about an hour now, so a nice little clean discussion here.
yeah. Just
So
a short
Rex,
little discussion that it actually stays in line with the approximate time we guess the recording would be, unlike last time where it went a lot longer than we expected.
yeah, yeah. So Rex, where can we find you? How can we
well,
see you?
I am Rexino. I have a YouTube channel which is well, Rexino. I have Twitter at Rex underscore Xenomorph. Should be pretty easy to find. And Instagram, Rex underscore Xeno. And I have also been writing for my blog page on WordPress. I've written a couple articles about production of China Godzilla, Gamera the Brave. Currently might be working on one for Son of Godzilla, potentially. And I've also got an article discussing Zilla's trademark and an interview with Zid, the artist for Legendary Comics' GVK Kingdom Kong, and I may be working on another interview, which is pretty exciting, to say the least. So yeah, that kaijublog.wordpress.com.
So yeah, and definitely check it out. It's a pretty cool little blog page.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elijah. Once more, the person that yabbers on week by week. You can find me on YouTube at ET13 Productions. You can find me on Twitter at ET13 Productions. All one word. The E, T, and P are all uppercase. Everything else is lowercase. I'm on Instagram at ET13 Productions. I write for GodzillaMovies.com occasionally, and I write for Kaiju Ramen. So there's those. And there might be some future work I might be plugging. I'm not sure yet. To be determined on that. But don't forget to rate Kaiju Conversation on iTunes. That boosts our ratings and helps us get recommended to more people like you. If you don't have an Apple device, which I don't blame you, I don't. They're pretty hard for me to handle. You can tweet us and follow us on Twitter at KAIJU_CONVERS.
Full disclosure, ET is not a tech guy. It took him 5 minutes to figure out how to take a screenshot.
On a computer. Computer.
But I don't care.
You're fired.
Thank you. But I don't.
Well, if you don't have Twitter, you can like us on Facebook or Instagram and message us that way. Even though I'm not really active, as Rex so kindly said, I'm not a tech guy. I'm in the wrong business. So you can contact us that way. Or if you're like me, before I started podcasting and you don't have any social media, you can email us at kaijuconversation@gmail.com, all lowercase, all one word. You know the drill. And we will read your reviews on air for everyone to hear. If you have a question, you can shoot us a message on any of the platforms that I just listed off, and we can read them off in the podcast, or I can respond to them. We also have merchandise on Teespring. If you want to have our logo and it on the back of your shirt saying "You Talk Big," go out and check them out. I need to order some for myself. Maybe I'll wear it to G-Fest and wear a mask so people can't see me. We'll see. Eventually, pull a Monster Island buddies. But we also have some exclusive art coming eventually. I just got to work some stuff out, and then we will have some awesome exclusive artwork. If you would like to chat with me or Rex or anyone one-on-one or in a big group of people on different subjects, you can join our Discord server where you can talk to, like I said, me or others that can relate to you. There was just some small discussion about which we preferred, American kaiju movies or Japanese kaiju movies. So pretty.
Oh, Japan.
Of course. So there's a huge variety of conversation that can happen. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell so you can be notified anytime we upload a new video. Sometimes it'll be a video, or I'm hoping to get some YouTube exclusives on there with us clowning around, maybe some gaming stuff, We'll just wait and see. And a huge thanks to Rex for editing all of our episodes. His links can be found in the description below, along with everything listed. It should be all in Linktree.
Yep.
A link to Kaiju Ramen can be found in mine, and so many more. So yeah, check out all that if you have the time. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was a bit of a unusual episode, but new year, it's been a little chaotic so far. We're just starting off smooth, and next time we'll have an awesome interview with somebody for you to enjoy, and then we'll have a discussion about a movie, and we'll see what happens from there. So thank you guys so much for listening, and please remember, life's too short to not talk big. Bye, guys.
Bye.